Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today for my third weekly live stream. I'm doing something a little different this week. I invited an audience. You might see behind me, we have Miss Betty Boop, we have the Philly Fanatic, we have my friend Jason Stark, who's a great sports writer, covers baseball. We have the George Bush Liar Liar Pants on Fire doll. We got the Fiddle Cat. A couple more characters up there. I thought we'd do something similar to what they're doing in the Korean Baseball League. So, some of you are my Facebook friends, and you have seen my posts, photos, and videos of the bears and the turkeys and some of the other wild animals that come by to visit me, and you might be wondering, just where in the world do I live? Well, I live in western North Carolina, outside of Asheville, the Blue Ridge Mountains, on a mountain called Busby Mountain. And you can feel free to drop in sometime. This is how you find me.
When you get off of the interstate, when you get off of the interstate, when you get to the end of the ramp, make a left and go basically straight. You've got to go several miles. You've got to go several miles. Might make you wonder after a while, but you've got to go several miles. Then you will go over the gap. Then you will go over the gap. You might not find it on just any old map, but you've got to go over the gap. There'll be a field of corn. There'll be a field of corn. It's at the end of that field of corn that is if the weather is warm. And I was just past the third dead cat. Just past the third dead cat. Just past the one that's especially flat. Just past the third dead cat. Now turn right on the gravel road. Turn right on the gravel road. As soon as you see it, you're just gonna know it. Turn right on the gravel road. And if you get to the church, turn back. If you get to the church, turn back. Do a U-turn if you get to the church, the one with the historical plaque. And now that gravel road's gonna split. The gravel road's gonna split. Keep left where the gravel road splits, so you don't go off in the ditch. And now go up and around the red shack. Go up and around the red shack. And take a look at what they got out back as you go up and around the red shack. Drive right through the pack of hounds. Drive right through the pack of hounds. They'll all get up from their lying down to play chicken with you, so don't go around. Brace yourself for the hill. Brace yourself for the hill. Take a deep breath, summon your will. Brace yourself for the hill. Go all the way to the top. Go all the way to the top. Don't forget to breathe and put down your pop. And whatever you do, don't stop. You'll find the key on the ledge. You'll find the key on the ledge. There's wood on the porch, beer in the fridge. You'll find the key on the ledge. And it's just past the third dead cat. Just past the third dead cat. The one that looks like a welcome mat. Just past the third dead cat.
So now you know where to find me. I want to let you all know that I have a wonderful assistant working with me today, our digital concierge, Barbie Angel. Barbie will be dropping in some URLs for you and answering any questions you might have in the comments section. Just so you know, Barbie is quite talented in her own right. She's a wonderful poet and performance artist, and in fact, she has been voted by the readers in Western North Carolina, the readers of our weekly free rag. She's been voted for the last 8 or 9 years in a row the best poet in Western North Carolina. So that's really saying something. And it's Barbie Angel with 2 L's. and you can look up, you can check her out on Facebook, you can look up her website, you can check her out on YouTube. She's got some wonderful videos. Also want to mention that I'm not charging an admission price for these live streams because I don't want to make it so that anybody who's going through any tough times right now can't watch. So I've made it open-ended. This is a pay what you want, pay what you will situation, and anything that you might care to contribute would be very much appreciated. And Barbie will be dropping in those URLs on how you can do that. So hope you just enjoy the music whether or not you can afford to pay something. I have a really dear friend that lives not too far from me, about an hour away over in eastern Tennessee. And I've known him for many years. He's a real bona fide mountain man. And here we are live streaming. And my friend that I wrote this song about is somebody who has absolutely no technology in their home. They're not on a computer. He has not, I'm sure he has no bank card or anything like that. The idea of live streaming is just so far-fetched, I'm sure, to a fellow like him. But he's the dearest man in the world. I love you, Will. I know you're not listening, but maybe your daughter is. So this is from my good buddy Will Taylor.
Everyone's wearing the latest designs. The newest commercials play with their minds. But there's nothing to wish for, nothing to chase for a man out of time, man out of place. He doesn't dress up or go shopping for clothes. He has comfortable shoes, he has 2 pair of those. He doesn't go far, he doesn't go fast. He fixes the things that were made to last. He's got no cell phone, no answering machine. His old typewriter, it has no screen. He's never been to cyberspace. Man out of time, man out of place, man out of time in his house in the woods. He'd like to just keep it that way if he could. But buildings go up, people move closer. First you hear the chainsaws and then the bulldozers. Man out of time, man out of place, man out of step, the whole human race. He doesn't consume and he tries not to waste. He's a man out of time, he's a man out of place. Any books that he owns are long out of print. He doesn't like Bill or Hillary Clinton. He's a stubborn man, he's stuck in his ways. Man out of time, man out of place. You got gadgets to cook, you've got gadgets to clean, you've got gadgets to do everything in between. Well, he still does things the old-fashioned ways. Man out of time, man out of place, man out of time, man out of place, man out of step, the whole human race. He doesn't consume and he tries not to waste. He's a man out of time, he's a man out of place. He's got no checkbook, no credit cards, just some old keepsakes and replacement parts. He's off the grid, he leaves no trace. He keeps his cash in an old suitcase, and he doesn't appear on anyone's list. A case could be made that it doesn't exist. He's not showing up in the database. Man out of time, man out of place, man out of time, man out of place, man out of step with the whole human race. He doesn't consume and he tries not to waste. He's a man out of time, he's a man out of place. But now people may judge this existence of his, but he's perfectly happy the way that it is. And still you figure the feds must be building a case against the man out of time, man out of place, man out of time, man out of place, man out of step with the whole rat race. He doesn't consume and he tries not to waste. He's a man out of time, he's a man out of place.
So I got a comment last week after somebody watched the show, said that I always end my songs shaking my guitar like that. And that's to get those last notes out so they don't get stuck inside. So out of all the baseball stories I have ever heard, this one certainly is up there among the most interesting. It's about a game that was played in Wichita, Kansas in 1925 between the Ku Klux Klan and a team, an all-black team called the Monrovians.
There was no place for a lady on a Sunday afternoon, 1925 on the 21st of June. It was 102 degrees and even hotter in the stands the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. No strangleholds, no razors, no horsewhips were allowed. They put a couple extra policemen in the crowd, and other violent instruments of argument were banned the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. Now the Klan was not too popular in Kansas at the time. They'd already been exposed for the racketeering crimes, and in Wichita they didn't seem to have a lot of fans the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. And only baseball would be on tap at Island Park that day. Ran the headline in the Beacon on the morning they would play. They were trying to head off trouble before the game began the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. Now the umps were Irish Catholic and they favored neither side. Out there on the field, the rules were evenly applied. It was a very good game of baseball, said the newspaper man the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. Now it was a seesaw battle, a pitcher's duel through four. The Monrovians would break it open 10-8 the score, and then drive off in jalopies and not those nice sedans the day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan. The day the all-black Monrovians beat the Ku Klux Klan.
Well, most of you are probably familiar with the story of James Robert Kennedy, otherwise known as Radio. Radio was a friend of mine. There was a movie made about him several years back. I originally read about this story in an article in Sports Illustrated written by a great writer named Gary Smith that my dad clipped out of the newspaper and sent to me. And it really resonated with me, and I decided I wanted to tell this story in song, so I wrote it. And then I mailed a copy of it to T.L. Hanna High School in Anderson, South Carolina, because the main characters in this song are Radio, who was a developmentally disabled young man, and a high school football coach by the name of Harold Jones. And Coach Jones sort of took radio under his wing after he showed up at a football practice. And, well, over the years, the community really embraced radio. They made him, Coach made him a fellow coach on the football team. And started to pick radio up every day on his way to school, bring him in. And he became somewhat of a mascot for the school, but a very beloved member in the community in many generations. A good 3 generations of students grew up with radio. And I mentioned that there was a major motion picture about him that Sony Pictures put out. My song was at the end of the credits in the film, and I was also in the final scene as a sort of a glorified extra, sitting right next to Gary Smith, the author of that Sports Illustrated article. It's the final scene where they replace all of the actors with the real characters. And I want to show you a couple of pictures. Here's a picture of radio and me at one of the T.L. Hanna High School football games. They had invited me to sing my song during halftime. And here's a picture of radio on the movie set. Somebody had a guitar that walked past, and radio wanted to play it. So I was lucky enough to be nearby with a camera. And I also have radio's business card he gave to me, and it's autographed, as you can see. Coach Radio. So Harold Jones and Linda Jones, if you're watching, I love you guys, and this song is for you.
Anderson, South Carolina, T.L. Hanna High. The people there will tell you, just ask any passerby, about the kid who speaks in gibberish. Folks will tell you, shoot, well, there was nothing but a little love and attention gave voice to a mute who stood with his transistor pressed against his ear, picking up certain frequencies that only he could hear. There was this little man inside it, perhaps his only friend, the only one who talked to him, the only one back then. Well, Coach Jones yelled, "Come here, boy," to this kid up in the stands. Was mimicking him loudly and making gestures with his hands. Players on this football team exchanged uneasy glances. He jumped when Coach said to jump, but how slow the boy was advancing. Well, Coach Jones was pulling on the drawstrings of his hood. The kid, he spoke in gibberish, and Coach, he understood. Lamb imitating lion sure looked like easy prey. But this is not what happened, no. It went the other way. Well, this kid they nicknamed Radio, he was 18 going on 6. The team needed a water boy, so the job was his. Coach convinced the principal to bend a couple of rules. They'd pick up radio every day on the way to school. And everywhere that Coach Jones went, his lamb was sure to go. They tried him out in special ed, but his marks were too low. The kid's now in his 60s, and his hair is sprinkled white. For 40-some years he's come to school, but he cannot read or write. Football Fridays, they let radio be the star. He falls in with the marching band, then went to color guard. He jumps when the cheerleaders jump, the pom-poms on his hands. And he cusses like the coaches do, and he high-fives with the fans. Well, everyone knows radio. The townspeople adore him. And the students pat his head just like the parents did before them. Anderson, South Carolina. Folks would tell you, shoot, well, there was nothing but a little love and attention gave voice to a mute.
So radio passed away on December 15th of this past year. And because I was not on the road at the time, I was able to drive down to Anderson, South Carolina and go to the funeral. And it was really overwhelming. It was amazing. There were so many people that came out. They actually held it in the Civic Center in Anderson because so many people wanted to attend. And before that, the evening before that, radio lay in state at Tialhana High School. And that was a really amazing scene as well. Here's a song that has been misunderstood a time or two. I'm sure you won't misunderstand it.
Ashes from the wood stove filling up the bucket, spilling out the top, so where am I gonna chuck it? Take it out the back door to where I never mow. Find a little spot that no one will ever go. Gonna take it out back, dump it in the river. Take it out back and throw it in the woods. Take it out back and chuck it down the hillside. We'll keep the front yard looking good. That old TV quit on me, brother, 10 years ago, so I got me another. The first one sitting out by the porch swing with the fridge and the stove and a bunch of other things. Gonna take 'em out back, dump 'em in the river. Take 'em out back and throw 'em in the woods. Take 'em out back and chuck 'em down the hillside. We'll keep the front yard looking good. That rusted old car, it's got no motor. If it had any gas, I would try to explode her. Hubcaps, hoods, and old transmissions. Take 'em to the river, gonna make for good fishing. Gonna take 'em out back, dump 'em in the river. Take 'em out back and throw 'em in the woods. Take 'em out back and chuck 'em down the hillside. We'll keep the front yard looking good. It's all turned green, and the chicken bones that have been picked clean. Some on the counter, some on the floor. Let's take 'em out the back door. Gonna take 'em out back, dump 'em in the river. Take 'em out back and throw 'em in the woods. Take 'em out back and chuck 'em down the hillside. We'll keep the front yard looking good. We'll keep the front yard looking good. I got to keep up the neighborhood.
I got a very irate email sent to me. It was actually sent to a bluegrass band that covered that song, and they were nice enough to forward it on to me, and I wish I had a copy of that beside me right now to read to you. But suffice to say, they were not happy with that song. They thought I was promoting dumping garbage in rivers, which I'm sure you've heard lots of folk songs that do that. If my buddies Cyril O'Donoghue and Blackie O'Connell are listening today from County Clare in Ireland, this song is for you guys. They played on the recording of this song on my Telltale Heart album, and they kicked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. The song is a story about something that took place in the 1840s, 1848 to be precise, during the famine or the Great Hunger in Ireland, when so many people died, and it was not possible to give everybody proper burials, and so many people were buried in mass graves. And in County Cork, west part of County Cork, there's a town called Skibbereen, and Terry Kearney, if you're listening, this song is also for you. Terry is a wonderful person that helps run the Skibbereen Heritage Center. And if you're ever out that way, you need to stop in, because it's a remarkable place, and you'll learn a lot. So about 8,000 to 10,000 people were buried in Abbeystrowry Cemetery just outside of the town of Skibbereen, and a little 3-year-old boy named Tom Guerin was among them. Well, the next day, or maybe even 2 days later, the grave diggers were trying to make room for more bodies because people were just piled up one on top of another on top of another. And there's a very small plot that held 8,000 to 10,000 people, and some of them were only maybe 3 inches below the surface. And so when the grave diggers plunged their shovels into the dirt, they struck Tom Guerin's legs, and they heard him cry out, and they realized somebody was still alive down there. And so they rescued him, and Tom Guerin grew up to become quite a character. He became a bard, a poet, and he would make the rounds on foot all over West County Cork. And back in the day, the bard was the news teller. This was, before people had access to news in the way we do today, so that there would be traveling bards, and they would compose poetry of the news of the day. And all Tom Guerin ever wanted for his efforts was for the county council to grant him a brand new pair of shoes, which he referred to as brogues. Well, it took something like 20 years to happen, but he finally got his new shoes. This is called New Shoes for Tom Guerin.
I write 33 verses for one pair of shoes. I wander the countryside spreading the news. I wander Scarborough and all of West Cork. Well, some head to Boston and others New York. I lived in the poorhouse, I slept on the floor. There was room to sit down, but not an inch more. The people who died were carried away without ceremony and without delay. Starvation was sweeping the land. On my little shoulder it lay its cold hand. My mother, she begged for a coffin for me. They all thought I died, there was only 3. The grave digger's shovel plunged in the dirt, struck me so hard it must have hurt. Though some say I moaned, some say I screamed, all agreed I wasn't as dead as I seemed. Now I roam all the world, admire each scene, a tax on the ratepayers I've never been. I only appeal to you now for a pair of brogues, and I'll vanish again into air. Well, not so many people get lowered down twice. I don't recommend it, just once should suffice. I'm the boy who was buried and dug up alive, the poet, the genius, the one who survived, and I rose from the dead in the year 48, when a grave at the Abbey had been near my fate. Since then, for subsistence, I've done all my best. The one shoe points eastward and the other points west. I roam all the world, admire each scene, tax on the ratepayers I've never been. I only appeal to you now for a pair of brogues, and I'll vanish again into air. Yes, I only appeal appeal to you now for a pair of bros, and I'll vanish again into air.
Well, I think I'll take this as a good omen ahead of this next song that I'm going to play, because I popped on the TV a little earlier today, and the MLB channel had the 1952 World Series Game 7 on between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Yankees. And it was actually the very first time in my life that I ever saw Jackie Robinson play. I had seen nothing more than a little film clip of him here or there, 10, 20 seconds at a time. So it was great to see. As y'all know, Jackie Robinson was the very first African-American player to integrate baseball. But the same year that he signed with the Dodgers, a white man by the name of Eddie Clapp signed with the Cleveland Buckeyes of the Negro Leagues, and he did play. He did pitch just a game or two or three. But this was actually the first historical baseball song I ever wrote. It was the second baseball song of mine, and the very first one that required research. And I didn't know where in the world I was going to find out information about Eddie Clapp. I came across a one-sentence mention of him in a book about Jackie Robinson, who I thought I was going to write my song about. And when I came across this one line, I thought, change horses here. This is the story to tell, but I didn't know where to find information on it, and this predated the internet and Google. So my dad suggested I call the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. And I did that. I spoke to the receptionist, and I asked her my question, if anybody there might know who Eddie Clapp was, and she patched me through to the research department that I did not even know existed. And the head of the research department that day, a man by the name of Tim Wiles, happened to answer my call. Now, Tim is a big folk music fan and fan of stories and poems, and a great guy. And when I asked him the question, do you know who Eddie Clapp was? His answer was, no. Who was he? So I thought, dead end. That's it. If he doesn't know, nobody's going to know. But I told him that little bit that I knew, and his response was, wow, that sounds like it would make a really great short story or poem or a song. And I said, you know what? That's exactly what I have in mind. I'm a songwriter, and I'd like to write a song about him. So Tim took my phone number and said he'd have a look around in the files, and if anything turned up, he'd get back to me. Well, sure enough, later that day, my phone rang, and it was Tim. And he had found a file on Eddie Clapp and Xeroxed a couple of pages for me and mailed them off, and I was able to write my song. And through the years, Tim became a tremendous ally for me. He was very instrumental in my writing all of the songs from at least the first Baseball Ballads CD. And by that point, I think Google was pretty prominent and easy to access. And so I was able to do more and more of the research on my own. But hats off to you, Tim Wiles, for all the help that you gave me through the years. And thanks to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown for all of your help. So this is called The Ballad of Eddie Clapp.
Well, the war had finally ended. America had changed. It had beaten back the Nazis, but the Jim Crow laws remained. There was talk of staging marches, talk of civil rights. There was talk about a Negro playing baseball with the whites. Well, he walked into the clubhouse and the card players quit playing. Whatever they were saying, and it was just like when the sheriff walks in to the saloon and he says, my name is Eddie, as he looks around the room. baseball. The manager said to the team, we're all gonna have to live with this. Oh, that's not what I mean, you know what I mean. And they all did. It went without saying. And the card players looked at their hands and they went on with their playing. Well, they ran him off the field before a game in Birmingham one night. They made him sit up in the grandstands in the section marked for whites. In this Cleveland Buckeyes uniform, there was a new twist on the law. The marshals kept their eyes on him and the hecklers ate him raw. Eddie Clapper should have run the bases in reverse. A white man in the Negro Leagues, well, that had to be a first. You could not ride the same buses, stay in the same motels, and you could not eat in the same restaurants. You couldn't have mixed clientele. So while Jackie played for Brooklyn or the Dodger Blue, Eddie crossed the color line, the one without a cue. A white man in the Negro Leagues might as well have been a Jew. Now you mention the name of Eddie Clapp, most everyone says, who?
I don't know if you can hear these guys behind me, but they're cheering. They're clapping real loud, just like they do in the Korean Baseball League. Now would probably be a good time to mention that if you have any requests for future shows, please, by all means, email them to me or send them to me via Facebook. I can't promise you I'm going to play everything you request. Some songs have not stood the test of time. Others have. But I could use a few days early warning so I can run through these songs if they're ones I haven't played in a long time. I would also love to know where you are watching from. I know we have had people in the past from all sorts of places like Uganda and South Africa and Australia and Denmark and Norway and Sweden and Scotland and Ireland and Northern Ireland and England and Canada and all over the USA. So I would love to know where you are. And I would also like to let you know that all of my music is available on bandcamp.com. And it's pay what you want. So if you are in a situation where you cannot afford to pay anything right now, that is okay. Enter 0 for the amount you're going to pay and hope you'll enjoy my music. And if you can pay something, I would appreciate whatever you care to pay. But I want you to have my music. I have 12 albums out there. So go raid the cabinet and help yourselves. I also do virtual private house concerts. If you like this streaming, I'll do this over my Zoom account for a private group that you put together. Can be as many households as you want. We can have up to 100 people sign in. And my assistant Barbie will be helping me on that, and we'll be keeping an eye on everybody's mics, so you can have your mics unmuted, and at the end of songs, you can clap and shout things out, and Barbie will be there keeping an eye on everybody's mics in case unexpected noise arises in the middle of a song, and she'll just mute you for a minute and unmute you later. They're great fun. I've done a few already, and there's several more in the works. So if this is something you might be interested in doing, contact me, again, through either Facebook or you can email me at chuck@chuckbrodsky.com. This next song is about a fella whose violin saved his life. I won't say any more about it.
godless ones were moving east, and we were turned in by a priest, rounded up with all the rest. The cattle cars from there went west. It was my precious violin. When we arrived, it saved my skin. The audition I would pass that day, the Wagner I dared not misplay. My violin would save my life, as well my daughter and my wife. They'd summon me to come and play. I'd close my eyes and go halfway. They were so merry and so gay, who danced by night and killed by day. They'd give me little scraps of food, sometimes when they were in the mood. I'd draw my bow and they would sway. They had no orders to obey. The officers, their wives and whores, drinking their cognacs and their liqueurs. They crane their necks, strain their ears. I don't know where they found the tears. Maybe someplace back in Berlin. Sometimes I slip some Mahler in. My violin would play itself while I'd escape to someplace else. My shattered mind would limp away to Warsaw in the month of May, conducting in the concert hall. I would not hear the things I saw. I'd hear the woodwinds and the strings. I'd tune out all the other things. I'd draw my bow and they would sway. They had no orders to obey. The officers, their wives and whores, drinking their cognacs and their liqueurs. They crane their necks, strain their ears. I don't know where they found the tears. Maybe someplace back in Berlin. Sometimes I slip some Mahler in. The band would start to play at dawn until the work crews had all gone. When they returned, we'd play some more, and in between we did our chores. We weren't there to entertain people stepping off the trains. We played when we were told to play. We'd stop when they would say, go away. I'd draw my bow and they would sway. They had no orders to obey. The officers, their wives and whores, drinking their cognacs and their liqueurs. They crane their necks, strain their ears. I don't know where they found the tears. Maybe someplace back in Berlin. Sometimes I slip some Mahler in. Sometimes I slip some Mahler in. Sometimes I slip some Mahler in.
So again, I just want to mention the fact that there will never be an admission price for my live stream shows, because I want everybody to be able to watch, and not just those that can afford it. But that way I'm leaving it up to you, and I really hope that you can contribute something today, because These days, this is about all I have for income. All of my shows have been canceled through at least the end of August, and most likely a whole lot beyond that. And so, thanks to your generosity and kindness and support, I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I'm going to be kicking. And I'll be doing this every week until I can get back out on the road again. So any support you can send my way would be most appreciated. Also, I probably should tell you about my Patreon community. If you're not already familiar with Patreon, it's a wonderful platform that allows people to support their favorite artists. You make a monthly pledge, and in exchange for that, you have access to some of the exclusive things that I will post to that page. Just yesterday, in fact, a fellow busker, a street musician from my days in Sweden back in around the 1983-84, she emailed me out of the blue and sent me the original copy of a set of the original lyrics to "We Are Each Other's Angels," which was originally titled "For All Good People" and had some slightly different lyrics. And she sent that to me, and I put that up on my Patreon page, as I will do with other things like brand new songs, where you would be the first to hear them, or some stories that maybe I wouldn't tell elsewhere, or some photos I'll share. There's a lot of different ways that I can share things with you, and you can support me at any level that you want, from as low as $1 a month up to 25 million a month, whatever your preference is. It all will help, and it will all be appreciated. So I had several requests to sing this song here, and so I will.
For the kindness of strangers, I'll often give thanks. Some have fed me and clothed me, and some have filled up my tanks. And some have taken me inside their humble abodes, giving me sanctuary out on this goddamn blessed road. And it all fit in a backpack with a sturdy metal frame. And my map had routes to everywhere, and I underlined some names. Could have walked to China, I had that lighter load. Nearly weightless when I set out on that goddamn blessed road. Well, I banded with some gypsies, they had a little camp with a garbage fire to keep warm by, from the cold and from the damp. Well, they taught me about honor, and they handed down the code. Which I have always tried to live by on this goddamn blessed road. picture was in black and white till color came one day. And then almost if it's right between my eyes, the truth, it became gray. Well, answers became questions, and I put my faith in the unknown. And I've trusted it to lead me down this goddamn blessed road. A lot of good books have been written, and you can read every one. You can take notes and recite quotes as proof you got your reading done. So many interpretations of the words of the ultimate poet, who inspires me to write my own on this goddamn blessed road. Well, magic happens sometimes, and things will just appear. Sun gone in an instant, and their memories are dear. My heart, it gets heavy. Hauling all my riches away down this goddamn blessed road. Billboards tell you where to go, others tell you what to do. So you're left with having to decide for yourself what might be right or wrong for you. My one and only question is how to know, how to know. All the answers people have for you out on this goddamn blessed road.
Well, it just started pouring here, and I know they're calling for lightning and thunder, so if you hear anything, don't panic. It's outside, not inside. And if we lose power, oh well, see you next week. I have a new song. I played it last week, and I'd like to play it again. And, hope you like it. It's called The Things You Think You Know.
You think you know, they aren't really so, but you insist they're true. A lot of people do. It would shock you if you knew. You'd be angry too, but that takes letting go of the things you think you know. The things you think you know, you believe them even though they can be disproved, but you're not even moved. It's not what you believe. You can't even conceive that first domino in the things you think you know. Well, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do, you go on and blow till you couldn't blow. I'll tell you even though no convincing you, but that's what you don't know. The things you think you do, yeah, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. The things you think you know were like that long ago, but not so much today. You really have to go back a ways until there wasn't any gray, and you only had to hope and pray, maintain the status quo. The things you think you know. The things you think you know. Excuse me, but hello, who's telling you these things? And who's pulling the strings? But who knows more than you? None of the experts do. Anyway, there you go. The things you think you know. Well, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. You go on and blow till you're good and blue. I tell ya, even though there's no convincing you. Well, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. Yeah, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. The things you think you know. The warm and cozy glow. It's mostly good for show. Gives you comfort though. You keep stoking the fire to get it going higher. You won't let it lie low. The things you think you know. Well, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. You go on and blow till you're good and blue. I tell you, even though there's no convincing you. Well, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. Yeah, that's what you don't know. The things you think you do. That's what you don't know. The things you think you do.
I played that entire song with something biting me, some kind of insect biting me on my top of my head. Let's see. I would like to do a baseball song. No. Might even do two. This one here, though, is about a fella who was a career minor league pitcher. His name was Brian Mazzone, and he switched teams 20 different times in his career. He pitched in Eugene, Oregon, St. George, Utah, Adelanto, California, Norwich, Connecticut, Fresno, California, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Valencia, Venezuela, Obregon, Mexico, Ottawa, Ontario, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Mexicali, Mexico, and Korea. And at the age of 30, the Philadelphia Phillies called him up for a spot start. One of their pitchers had a sore arm. And this is what happened that day.
There was orange on the radar. In some places it was red. You saw it on the TV. Well, he was still in bed. Room service brought him breakfast. Some good coffee as well. He could get used to staying at a major league hotel. Well, it was raining hard that morning. The whole day it would pour. And he would just stare out the window 27th floor. The night before at supper, some joint in Buffalo. The skipper called to tell him that he was going to the show. Text messages and emails lighting up his phone. his friends and family, from everyone he'd ever known. His folks flew in from Boston. His wife just made her flight. They all got there the next day to see him pitch that night. And so he put his big leg pants on, and he tied his big leg shoes, while a couple of big leggers were giving interviews. His name was in the lineup. He was mentioned on the news. He'd knocked around a dozen years for this. He'd even pitched in Veracruz. And so he walked out through that tunnel to stand on a big league mound. The rain was cruel and stung him. Tears were coming down. So he squeezed a big league baseball, ran his fingers along the seams. Rain was cruel and stung him as it washed away his dreams. And it was flooded in the dugout. It was a lonely place to sit. He thought of going to Korea, or maybe it was time to quit. And now next time they need a pitcher, they'll probably call up some kid. And every time thereafter, that's exactly what they did. Well, that tarp was never lifted, and that storm never let up. It's like he got his cup of coffee without the coffee cup. They let him keep his jersey. The box did soaking wet, and that was as close to the majors as he would ever get. Well, now you can say that's baseball, especially if you never played. But for the guy who worked his ass off and whose dues were overpaid, well, this was all he'd ever wanted ever since the 7th grade. Congratulations were in order, but condolences were paid. Yeah, that tarp was never lifted, and that storm never let up. It's like he got his cup of coffee without the coffee cup.
So I'm not going to stop at 4 o'clock, obviously. I'm going to play 2 more songs for you, so I hope you'll hang around. And if you can't, I hope you'll come back next week. Again, I'd love to know where you're watching from. And one last time, there's no admission today, and there never will be an admission price charged to watch me on these live streams. But it's totally whatever you can afford to pay. So anything would be most appreciated. Thank you. During World War II, when the ball players, the men were fighting overseas, there was an all-girls professional baseball league, and they were quite good players. And I'd been wanting to write a song about them for a long, long time. And Tim Wiles, if you're listening, you're the one that urged me to do this originally years ago. I finally got around to it. So this is called The Country Needed Baseball.
Country needed baseball. The boys were overseas, fighting with the Germans and the Japanese. Just beyond the outfield, the flag blew in the breeze. The girls were wearing blouses with the skirts above the knees. Country needed baseball, and the girls were really good. Sounds were therapeutic of the cowhide meeting wood. They hustled and got dirty, skinned their elbows and their knees. And for a couple precious hours, people's minds could be at ease. Needed baseball like you'd need a cigarette when you've gone too long without one, and you still can't have one yet. And your loved one's in the trenches with a gun and bayonet, and you're stuck there waiting tables at the corner luncheonette. Country needed baseball to give itself a lift. Not every patriotic woman had to fill a factory shift. Some could hit a curveball, others could throw strikes. Some would run you over, or they'd cut you with their spikes. Country needed baseball on Sunday afternoons. Stadiums would fill up, there'd be banners and balloons, Cracker Jack and peanuts, hot dogs, beer and coke. Just like when the boys played, it all tastes like cigar smoke. Yeah, the country needed baseball. Country needed baseball. The country needed baseball. Yeah, the country needed baseball.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in this week. Hope I've played some songs that you've enjoyed, and if there's anything you want to hear for next week or the week after, please, by all means, send me an email or a Facebook message, and be glad to at least think about it and try working on it at home if it's something I haven't played in a while. And if you're interested in having me play a private virtual house concert for you over Zoom, another thing you can get in touch about. Don't forget, you can pick up all of my recordings at bandcamp.com. If you want the actual CDs, I can't give them away, so you have to go to chuckbrodsky.com to order those. What else? That's all I can think of. So I'm just gonna thank my friend and assistant Barbie Angel one last time for everything she's done to make your viewing experience a little bit better. And if you've had any questions, I'm sure she was able to give you a very quick answer. So I'm going to close with a song I imagine I'll be closing every show with. It's the oldest song I still play. I wrote this back in 1981 after hitchhiking from Philadelphia to San Francisco. And as I mentioned before, the original title of it was For All Good People. Thank you to Katarina. If you're listening from Sweden, thank you for sending me those original lyrics, because I don't even think I had them. So I want to sing this last song for my parents. They are my angels, just like you are out there. And hope you'll tune in next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. And let me know what you want to hear. Thanks again, everybody.
Well, I hope I see you later, 'cause it's time for me to go. That's my ride that just pulled over, and it sure was good to know you. So go answer your calling, go and fill somebody's cup. And if you see an angel falling, won't you stop and help them up? We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. Sometimes you'll stumble, sometimes you'll just lie down. Sometimes you'll get lonely with all these people around. You might shiver when the wind blows, and you might get blown away. You might lose a little color, you might lose a little faith. We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. So thank you for the water. Thought I was gonna die out here in the desert, but you quenched my thirst. Let's break a little bread together. Got a little manna. It was a gift. Someone who was passing by and offered me a lift. We are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs.
Thanks again. Stay safe, stay well, and be good to each other. Till next time.